Good morning, guys. Sweet, guys. Just a heads up, I'm gonna get into the pre-market gappers in just a second. Alright, guys, I just posted in the comment section some of the watches for this morning. So, obviously, CTRV is gonna be one of the main watches. There is currently on Trade Zero, there's no shares to short on that. So I'm guessing majority of people aren't gonna have shares to short on a CTRV. So it's a recent reverse split, which means the float is a lot smaller than it was before. Let me check what it was. Give me just 1 second. So yeah, it was a 1 for 70 reverse split. So you basically have to divide the float by 70, and then you'll get the current float for it. Um, it's a bit extended now. At open, we can see if it holds this $11 support and maybe curls back up for long setups. If it looks weak, we can also look for a short through like 10, 60, 11 area as well. So that's CTRV. Um, there was another gapper, CFRX. This one gapped up into daily chart resistance and is just fading back down. So that one's probably done. It's probably going to go back to like 42 cents. So nothing on that at this point. VTVT. This one gave back all its gains in pre-market. Um, if we get back over 2 or 210, we can keep it on watch for potential longs. But I'm kind of thinking that VTVT is most likely just going to bounce and then fade for the rest of the day. So I'll keep that one on watch for you guys. VTVT. RWLK, if this one bounces to like 750 or 8, it might be a bounce short type of play. WKHS, the main level on that is 220. So if we get back over 220 and find solid support, we can maybe look for long setups. If it rejects 220, we can maybe look for short setups to fade it back down to like 180 area. GNCA, like I said on the watch list, 680 is kind of the key level. So if we hold 680, we can look for long setups. If we're really heavy and weak, you can look to short it maybe through 680 or 660 area. There's also a few more. There's this La Jolla Pharmacy, LJPC kind of gapping up. Has a pretty big spread. So this one might be something to avoid, but we'll see if volume comes into that. Um, CDTX is kind of gapping up a little bit towards 160. Nothing really special on that. Same with ADIL. We do have a little gap on that. So if volume comes into these ones, we can also keep those on watch. TBLT. But yeah, there's really nothing too exciting today besides the CTRV, but you have to be really careful trading this one. Use smaller size because the spread can be pretty wide between the bid and the ask, so it makes it a little bit harder to get fills that you want. But yeah, guys, just a heads up, I do have a lot of stuff to do a little bit later today, so it might be a little bit of an earlier day for me. I'm probably just gonna trade the first hour and a half or so, and then I do have to take care of some things. If I can, I'll try to make it back for the afternoon session, but there is a chance that I'll only be here for the first like hour or two, so just keep that in mind. I think Star Lord might be around though to help out and call out plays, so you guys can ask Star Lord and also Wolfers or Wolf. I believe he's on the YouTube stream today for the scanner, so you guys can also tune in for that. Oh, is he? Okay. So yes, I'm not sure if he's gonna be there all day, but if I'm not around today, guys, after the morning session, just keep in mind, just because I have a bunch of stuff I have to do today. So you guys can always message Star Lord in chat, and then he'll help you out. Or you guys can also just follow along on YouTube. But yeah, I really appreciate it, guys, for you guys understanding. And if people ask like where I'm at, just be sure to let them know that I just had stuff to do later on. But yeah, guys, I pretty much went over everything that I'm watching. Basically, CTRV and VTVT are the main watches. WKHS, I'm also just a little bit interested in shorting this back down if it fails 220. But there's really not that much room on that one to short it back down, so it's really not that attractive. Same with VTVT. It already faded from the 230s. If you look on the daily chart on VTVT, there was a gap to fill at $2 and uh, $2.25 to $2.30 was the gap fill price. So it basically filled that gap perfectly and then reversed. The daily chart does have some support at 190, so if that 190 breaks on VTVT, we're probably going to fade back down to like 170 area, maybe 160. So yeah, guys, we have about 5 minutes until the market opens. If you guys have any stocks you want me to look over, or if I missed anything, please just let me know in the comment section, and I'll go ahead and pull that up for you and let you know my thoughts. So, Quest asks CTRV filed an amended S1 today. Potential offering. So I'm not an expert with like fundamentals and reading filings, but um, I would definitely be cautious on the long side. Most reverse splits, they only do reverse splits for one reason. It's just to pump the stock up so they can dilute it back down. So definitely use smaller side on Use smaller size on the long side, definitely with reverse splits. So really big rejection on CTRV so far, of that 1380. So yeah, guys, whenever you get a huge wick like that, like on CTRV, on a pretty big volume, it's usually an uphill battle from there for longs, anyways. Yeah, VTVT is kind of weak open. I was kind of hoping for that to go higher. I don't really want to short it in the 180s because it feels like a chase. Same with WKHS. It's just hard to short it down here, even though I think it's going to go lower. It's just not a good entry, so it's better to just wait to see if it bounces first. So really nice candle there on CTRV. We're back at $13. So what you have to keep in mind is this float is so small on CTRV. It really doesn't take that much volume to get moving. So far we're at about 1.7 million in volume. So if I had to guess, it's probably gonna do at least 3-4 million by the end of the day, which is pretty decent. But yeah, guys, one thing I don't like about CTRV is if you look at like the daily chart or the weekly chart, there's really like no chart history to go off of with this reverse split. There's no like resistance areas above, at least on Thinkorswim there's not. So kind of makes it a little bit difficult. You kind of have to just treat it like a fresh chart basically. Yeah, guys, be really careful with KOOL. It is a reverse split. Let me check the volume on that one as well. The volume is super low on KOOL. It's only at 50K in volume, so I would just avoid it unless a lot of volume comes in. So guys, on CTRV, we're kind of starting to form a little pattern here, a little wedge or flag. So if we hold this 1290 area, we can possibly look for 1350 to break and hold and curl back up. Or if it fails 1350, look for a lower high, and then you can look for the break of that 1290 area. If you're looking at my screen right now, you can kind of see the pattern that I drew out. So we'll kind of see where it goes from here. So far we're still kind of rejecting that 1350 area on CTRV. So there is a chance we might put in a lower high here and break that 1290 $13 area. Um, but yeah, it can still go both ways. So there's the break of 1350. Now we want to see that 1350 hold and then curl back up through 14. There is a chance this could still reject and then roll over, so keep that in mind. You really want it to trade sideways for a decent amount of time to show that solid support. So there's that little flag out of that wedge. Also, WKHS is over that 220 level. So we can also keep that one on watch for potential longs. Yep, and CTRV is currently halted. So CTRV is now open or unhalted, and we're under that 1230 pre-market resistance now. So the next support level I see is around 1140, and then you have a big support area at 1050. Also, WKHS ended up holding 220 so far, and it's starting to curl up. I really don't have high expectations with that one. I just don't think it's gonna have a lot of range today, but we can still keep it on watch. Nice move on INSY. Just a heads up, guys, on that chart, we are currently in a, let me see. So the gap breakout on INSY would be 150. So we officially are in the gap breakout. There is a gap to fill above at $3.50. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but I'm just saying we are in a gap on that daily chart. So just keep that in mind. Also, CTRV, that one kind of broke pre-market support and then bounced back up. So that one's probably done, guys. It halted downwards. It's probably gonna chop around. Give me 1 second. Just a heads up too. I did end up taking a short on WKHS in the 220s on that breakdown. I did let you guys know about that earlier. WKHS 220 was the main level. I did also have that on the watch list. Um, I only took a few thousand shares and I already covered some out, so I'm just gonna try to cover some near 210 and maybe $2. Not really a trade that I'm like really want to alert because there's just not that much room to the downside. And I don't really want you guys to get bad habits of shorting stocks like this because it's really the context for the short side just really isn't that great. Um, so yeah, just keep that in mind. If it gets back over 220, I'll just take the rest off and call it good on that one. But yeah, on WKHS, I pretty much already covered half of my positions, so even if it goes back to my entry, it's pretty much just going to be break even on the rest, so it's not really a big deal. Someone asked about LGCY. There's a lot of resistance at 40 cents and at 50 cents, so it's really an uphill battle on LGCY. I wouldn't suggest it on the long side, or I wouldn't recommend it on the long side. Unless some like really big volume comes in, then that might be a different story. Yeah, and it looks like INSY is pretty easy to borrow. But I wouldn't short it right away, obviously. Just wait for it to exhaust itself and put in a lower high, and then we can look at the short side. On INSY, I was basically just saying if you go to the daily chart, we're breaking out of that gap, or it's a gap breakout on the daily chart. So 150 was a gap breakout level, and then we have a gap to fill on the daily chart all the way to like $3. I'm not saying it's gonna get to $3, but I'm just saying be aware that we are in open gap territory. So there is a chance it could, run further. But it is getting extended as well, so you have to be careful. It's super extended right now, so I wouldn't recommend it long up here either. And it looks like it's just opening from its halt, so we can keep INSY on watch there. So with the gaps, like INSY, if you go to the daily chart and you look at the gap, um, you would just take the high. So if you're looking for a gap breakout, you would just look for the high of the bottom channel, right? So in this case, INSY, if you go to the bars, if you go to 514, the high of that was 150. So that was the top of that range, right? So 150 would be the official gap breakout price. If you're looking at the reversal or the gap fill, that would be near 350. So you can take the closing price of that candle on 5/10/2019. You can take the low of that, and you can take the closing price, and you can take the high price of that. And but I like to go off the closing price or the low price for the official gap close. I'll make a video on like daily chart gap breakouts and daily chart gap fills. Yeah, guys, but you can definitely tell like the last few days, the action has been a lot different. There's not as much momentum. I mean, there's obviously been good action lately. There's still like, a player to a day that goes pretty crazy. But you can tell it's starting to slow down just a little bit um, as we're getting into summer here. So you kind of have to adjust to the market, be a little bit more cautious on the long side. A lot of these companies, they're desperate for money, and with the momentum, there's probably going to be with less momentum, there probably going to be more shady stuff going on. But yeah, I'm still holding WKHS short. We rejected 220 and we're coming back towards these lows. So I'm hoping to cover some more out at like 210 area or maybe 207 area. We'll see how that goes. So someone asked about Reese's video, if it ever got posted. I don't know. When I asked him, he said one of his friends recorded it for him. So I'm really not sure what's going on with that. I have no control over that, guys. That was, his little project that he was doing. Also, WKHS, if it pops back over 220, I'm just gonna hop out. This was kind of a dumb trade. But if it does end up rolling over, hopefully we can get $2 covers. So someone asked if I use hard stops. I don't. I just use mental stops. If I do use a hard stop, it's just because I'm not at my desk or I'm not watching the stock closely. So I do a little bit of both. I like to set range orders sometimes. But for the most part, I just exit mentally. I don't use hard stops that much. Um, I'm looking for long setups. I'm not really seeing any good ones, guys. Maybe if WKHS holds over 220 again, we can look for that to curl back up. Um, but yeah, it's been pretty bearish lately. So when people say, Tatiana asked, a lot of traders talk about preparing orders in advance, but how do they get them executed? Um, I think you're referring to like some people they don't use hotkeys, so they'll have like a limit order sitting on their level two, so that they're prepared. Like when it gets to a certain price, they'll all they have to do is press a button. They don't have to like change the price or anything like that. So I think that's what they mean by preparing their orders. They have a bunch of different orders sitting, or or they might be just meaning that they have an open order, so they have an open order sitting there. Or there was one more scenario. There is like a limit order where if a stock hits a certain price, it buys you in, or if it hits a certain price, it shorts you in. So that's also another thing they could be referring to. Wow. Really nice fade today, guys, on RWLK. Um, I was thinking that was a bounce short, which is pretty much what played out. It bounced up to 720 resistance and then faded all the way down. So also VTVT, I really wanted that one higher, but it ended up just like I said. I thought it would fill the gap from yesterday. Yesterday's closing price on VTVT was around 165, and it actually went all the way down and filled that gap already. So a really nice move on VTVT from 190 all the way down to 170. I probably should be more aggressive on these type of plays, but I just always get concerned that there's just not enough room to short it back down, and I hate to chase stocks. Same with RWLK. I kind of didn't think it would fade that nicely within the first hour, but really nice fade on that. Sometimes, guys, it's almost better just to focus on the day two plays on the short side, um, because not as many people are watching it. It's easy money in a sense. Well, not easy, but you guys kind of get what I'm trying to say. It's definitely easier than shorting something like CTRV, which is just huge spread and just can be pretty crazy at times. So yeah, if you guys find yourself having trouble finding consistency and you notice that you're trading all these crazy stocks like reverse splits and just really crazy stocks, try to shift your focus onto easier plays that have just really good patterns and decent volume. But yeah, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money to be made on stocks like CTRV, but it's not for the beginner trader, in my opinion. Especially if you don't have hotkeys and you're not fast with executing, you can really get stuck in these. Like, let's say you bought at 1350, it goes up for 2 minutes, and then just halts to the downside, and then you're stuck in that halt. You also really have to size, appropriately for these type of plays as well. So just keep that in mind, guys. Sorry, Janeko, I'm not really sure what you're asking on RWLK. Are you asking if you're trying to buy it? So, for the long side on RWLK, um, as most of you guys know, I don't like to buy stocks that are in a downtrend. So it's not really my style. But I can see kind of what you're looking at though. You can kind of see this little wedge forming and then the break of that 580. So to answer your question, yeah, there's a good chance it could bounce to like $6, maybe 620 if you're lucky. But I wouldn't do it myself, so obviously I can't recommend it to others. But yeah, I mean, I can see what you're looking at, and I can see what you're going for, and it makes sense. Just a heads up, guys. On CTRB, we do still have that support level around 1060, 1050 area. So you might want to look for that to snap for some more fade on that one. WKHS is currently holding that 220 to 225 area. So if that one trades sideways above 223, you can look for that to curl back up later for potential long setups. Um, what else do we have? So yeah, that's pretty much it so far, guys. INSY gave a pretty good opportunity both ways. It's most likely done. INSY, unless it gets over 140, which I don't think it will. It's probably gonna fade back to like $1 or lower by the end of the day. Um, that's pretty much all I'm seeing. As you guys know, I do have to leave a bit early today. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the screen share. And yeah, LJPC is also a good one to watch. I kind of mentioned that one at in pre-market. I was basically saying if a lot of volume comes in to keep it on watch. So really nice move there. On the daily chart, there is some resistance near the 780, and there's some resistance near 850 to 870 area. And then after that, there was resistance at $10. So those are kind of the key areas on LJPC. Yep. But yeah, guys, I do have to take off a bit early today and take care of some errands and things like that. So if you guys have any questions, just you guys can message Starlord, or you can just tune in to the YouTube scanner live stream if you want to keep up with what he's watching. But yeah, guys, I'll try to make it back for the afternoon session, but I can't promise that. I might be busy. So, yep, I will talk to you guys later, and then I'll, of course, I'll update everything in the small cap action channel.